Welcome to Main Street Minds with your host, Amish Munshi. This is where industry leaders and seasoned pros share their secrets to success beyond limits. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to Main Street Minds. Today I'm very excited to have Cameron Wilson over here with us. At the same time, super excited because looking forward to doing more podcast partnerships with Cameron, working with him on launching a pretty good online presence and seeing how we can collaborate more efficiently. But before that, I'm excited because Cameron is in a beautiful St. Louis city in Missouri. And what's better than being right in the middle of the country and getting access to everything in the entire country? So while being very special within the region. So without any further delay, let me get started. Open up the floor, Cameron. Introduce yourself and tell us your secrets.
Absolutely. So my name is Cameron Wilson. I am a full-time real estate agent in St. Louis, Missouri. I have been doing full-time real estate, got my license in May of 2023. And initially it was a little bit of a struggle to get rolling, but I started full-time in October of 2023.
Mhm.
I initially started with Keller Williams back in May of 2023. As soon as I got my license, I was so excited. I just threw my license at the first broker that advertised to me. And decided to switch over to Coldwell Banker Gundaker, which is a local subsidiary of Coldwell Banker as a whole,
Mhm.
local to St. Louis and Missouri. And yeah, since then I've had a ton of success. I've been very, very lucky and very blessed to have. Um, 2024, I had 18 closings. I was Rookie of the Year for Coldwell Banker Gundaker,
Mhm.
the company as a whole, and my brokerage in Ladue, Missouri. And International Sterling Society, which is an accolade Coldwell Banker gives for a specific amount of closings in 1 year. And this year, I also am International Sterling Society, so I've doubled down and I've exceeded my 18 closings. I'm going to be, by the end of this week, I'll be at 20. So
Wow, that is an amazing achievement this year. And I
thank you.
would say especially this year, while most other agents are like actually struggling. So there's
Yeah.
something that you're doing that is just extremely important and right. So yeah, and
Sure.
before we go ahead, I would like to know, like, how did you get started? Like why did you decide to join real estate?
Absolutely. So I live in St. Louis now. I've been here since 2021.
Mhm.
I moved here from a town called Melbourne, Florida, which is on the east coast of Florida. Kind of, if you look at Orlando, it's 45 minutes east from there, right on the east coast. And I grew up there. I lived there since I was 8 years old. And I had always wanted to be a realtor. I got started in sales at 16 years old when I could first get a job. I've worked for Mattress Firm, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint back in the day.
Mhm.
I've done a lot of sales positions, and I just kept getting bigger and bigger in the items I was selling. And
Yeah.
I just decided one day, hey, I would love to kind of take my sales career to kind of the ultimate step, which is selling homes and properties and land.
Yeah.
And from there, I started real estate school in Florida, and I had gone through some personal stuff, so I didn't finish there. But when I met my wife down in Florida, her family's from St. Louis, so we decided to move here.
Nice.
And she kind of got me back on track to getting my career going in real estate. And I got my passed the course, passed the test, got my license up here, and it's been full time real estate ever since, man.
Yeah, that's amazing. The sales background definitely is extremely invaluable, right? To kind
Yeah,
of have that background because a lot of people join real estate thinking they're going to save money or make money. Like that's the terrible, terrible reason to
yeah,
do this. You can make money in anything that you like to do.
yes, for
Yeah,
sure.
provided, yeah, like, and if you have the sales background, that's the core of what we do. We are selling the most important asset in somebody's life, and it just the impact to a person's life when they are buying a house or even selling a house is just incredible.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the biggest like misconceptions that I've talked to new agents about is, hey, I'm going to become a real estate agent and immediately I'm going to start making $10,000 per transaction and I'm going to be rich quick. And
Yeah.
Real estate is one of those things. I hate to tell anybody who's listening, if you think it's something you're going to jump right into and immediately get rich, it does take some time and a lot of grinding before you get to that point. Um, I would say biggest piece of advice to anybody starting out in real estate and starting the journey to getting their license is to have realistic expectations, realize it's going to take, any business that you build, whether that be a real estate business or a restaurant you open or,
Mhm.
anything of the sort, it's going to take some time to gain popularity. And that's true even with being an independent contractor and starting a business that's a one-man show of being a realtor. You have to realistically expect to put in a ton of work before you start seeing a payoff, and that's kind of the realistic expectation to hold.
Yeah, that is true. And like the success that you're seeing right now, it's kind of second to none, right? Like how tell us more about how did you go around being able to do 18 transactions, closing to 21, and there's still 2 months left.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing you can do is talk to anybody and everybody you meet. You have to you have to realize that selling somebody's home is a very personal thing. Helping somebody buy a home is a very personal thing. People aren't just going to walk up to you and ask you to do it.
Mhm.
It's something they have to trust you to do it. These people have grown up in their homes, or it's their first home that they're buying as a married couple, or they just had their first child and they're up, getting into a
Yeah,
bigger home. So these are things you have to realize that are very personal. So introducing yourself, being trustworthy, being authentic, I think are the most important things. And really, really reaching out to any and everybody around you and just saying, hey, just so you know, I'm a realtor. I'm not looking to do anything to make myself some money. But if you find yourself in a position to need help, I want you to know I'm here for you, even if it's just asking advice or coming to take a look at your house and helping you get it ready for the market. If you have a realtor you use already, just
yeah,
gain trust and favor with people just by offering your knowledge to them. And another piece of advice is don't be afraid to, if you have the means to do so, to invest in yourself and purchase some leads.
yeah.
That was something that helped me skyrocket from
Mhm.
get go. As I was like, I don't have a huge sphere of influence in St. Louis. I just moved here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw
Yeah.
caution to the wind, purchase some leads, see how it goes, and it really really helped me skyrocket and shoot off from the ground.
Yeah, that is amazing. And there's always, when somebody's getting started, there is just so much distraction, right? Like buying leads, working open houses, working the sphere. There's just so many ways to get started. And
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is identify one, get good at it, and then build on it.
Yes, absolutely, and that's a point that I missed as well. Open houses. Some people achieve success, some people don't. Um, I've not personally had a ton of success with open houses. I'm still getting that portion of my business
Yeah.
to where it should be. But from what I've learned from most of my leadership is that open houses are one of your cheapest, best, and most fun ways you can really connect with people in the area, especially if you have a buddy who's or a coworker or a mentor of yours who's listing
Hmm.
a home and wants you to host their open house. Don't be afraid to walk around the neighborhood, walk up and down 3 streets on either side, knock on the doors and say, hey, I'm hosting an open house from 1 to 3 this Sunday. I want you to know that I'm going to open it a little bit early for the neighbors from 12 to 1. If you want to come see how I host things and you're looking for a realtor in the area, please feel free to come on over. And uh, you know, I'm just doing a private neighborhood showing from 12 to 1, and then I'm opening up to the public from 1 to 3, and really make it feel exclusive for the folks around that home, to feel like they are able to come and privately meet with you without the whole public being there to see that house. So there's definitely ways to use an open house to your benefit and to really make it a special experience for not only the person listing their home, but you and potential future clients.
Yeah, and all like from what you just mentioned, just making it really special for the neighbors and them involving them is a very big thing because whoever is going to come in and like call it home, they're going to have very friendly neighbors.
Absolutely. And there's always there's a funny thing in the business of open houses when you're a realtor and you're hosting them a lot. You get to know the nosy neighbors because
Yeah.
you'll always have at least one or two or three that either live right next door or across the street or whatever, see the sign in the yard and they're like, I'm just the nosy neighbor coming to see the house. And
Yeah.
those nosy neighbors are coming over there for a reason. They don't just want to see the house. They're interested in what's going on and
Yeah.
listing the house. So don't be afraid to talk to those nosy neighbors because they'll become some of your best clients in the future.
Yeah, and some of them might be thinking of selling, might be thinking of like other options, or might know somebody
Sure.
else who probably wants to buy, or maybe they have their friends whom they might make two calls, like, hey, there is a house right in my neighborhood. Do you want to like move?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've actually had that before where I've had somebody come into one of my open houses and, sit and talk with me for a while. And they're like, hey, I really like you. And I have a best friend who's, she's sick of renting. She really wants to move close by. And this house is perfect for her. It's perfect size, perfect price, everything. She's like, you mind if I take a business card and give it to her? And
Yeah.
the next day, her friend called me and she's like, hey, I'm so and so. I would love to work with you and get a pre-approval for a loan and put an offer in on this house. Can you help me? And I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's always the first lead that's always the most difficult, right? Like, and then most of the leads like convert into additional business in the long run. So if even if you're just breaking even on the first initial few transactions you do by it might be giving out magnets for the fridge or something.
Yeah,
Like, feel
yeah,
free to like spend that a little bit extra on something meaningful. Even if you're just breaking even on some few transactions initially, it's okay because once you have things rolling, it all pays back.
absolutely. One of the things that I actually like to do is I found so through Caldwell Banker we have a swag store. It's a store like just a company that makes specific Caldwell Banker gear, like custom gear for their agents. I actually purchased, I think it was a year and a half ago now, like 500 or 750 koozies, like the foam koozies that keep your drinks cold. So at an open house, I'll go buy like a 24 pack of like Coke Zero or Diet Coke or Cokes, like at Sam's Club or something like that for $15. And I'll, have them in the fridge during the open house. And when somebody walks in, I'll say, hey, do you want a water? Do you want a so and so? And I'll throw a koozie on it for them, my personal koozie, and I'll give them that drink. That way you're marketing, but you're also giving them something like a refreshment when they walk in. So it's very welcoming, and you get to market yourself that way, and it's something that they'll keep.
Yeah, that's amazing. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about you. Like, how do you manage so many transactions? Like, how do you keep your head in the right place when you have like six transactions going on at a time?
Yeah, it's one of those things, you know, when I for my first transaction, I'll start with the very first one that I had. I was way in over my head. I had no idea how to write a contract. I had no idea what the contracts even look like. And I was like, uh, broker, what do I do? Help. And she sat with me, she taught me. Um, the biggest thing I'll say for anybody looking to get into real estate, take advantage of the people around you that are your leadership and that care to help you. There are people in this industry that aren't only out for themselves. There are other agents that will sit with you for hours and hours and help you. I was blessed to have a mentor in the business as well who sat with me and taught me almost everything I know.
Hmm.
And they're out there, so take advantage of those folks because they'll teach you everything you need. And once you get that first one under your belt, and you really grasp the understanding of how to write a contract, what to look for, the different types of contracts, the things you need to change on them, then you can really do it more efficiently and quickly. And that's kind of the thing with managing the transactions from start to finish is if you can find yourself a transaction manager or somebody to do all the paperwork and documentation for you so that you can focus on selling and doing
Yeah.
showings and all the stuff outside the house, you're probably better off for it because that time you're going to take to sit there and write all those papers out, you
Yeah.
could be out showing houses and getting three more contracts done. So the way I manage it is, I use a transaction coordinator through Coldwell Banker that they offer to us for free. So there are brokerages that have that included in what you pay them. I would recommend finding somebody with that included, or finding a team to start with that will give you leads and a transaction coordinator. Just a way to get your foot in the door before you can really start doing it yourself. At this point, I kind of besides the transaction coordinator, I manage it myself from start to finish because I know once I write a contract, I in my brain all the deadlines are there, so I know when I need to be doing things and how quickly they need to be done, and you just grasp it. At some point, the light bulb turns on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So tell us a little bit more about you. Like, how are you? Like, what are you working? Are you mainly working with buyers still, or both buyers and sellers? Like, what are you focusing on?
Yeah, a majority of my business is buyers at the moment. I have had a few listings under my belt. I have an active listing right now, a condo in Brentwood, Missouri, which is a part of St. Louis. But um, aside from that, it's been mostly buyers. And I think for me, the joy that a buyer gets when they get to go see houses and having those conversations of like, finding them the perfect house, like the Goldilocks, for example, right? Like this one's too big, this one's too small, this one's just right. I really, really enjoy that. I enjoy being the present to hear all their comments and seeing what they think about the houses. So um, I would say it's been mostly buyers by choice. I really enjoy the joy that people get purchasing either their first home or their next home or their last home, whatever the case might be, wherever they're at in the stage of their life. Um, Buyers are kind of where I find my joy in the business for sure.
Yeah, that is amazing, and it's a little bit easier to get started working the bars. But if you love working with the bars, like the sense of satisfaction you get when somebody ends up getting the keys, there's like
Yes,
the listing agent never gets to rarely gets to see that.
absolutely. The listing agent just actually, so I have a closing tomorrow, and I just did my final walkthrough with my client this morning. It's her first home. She's buying her first home, and the listing agent texted me this morning and said, "Feel free to take the keys out of the lockbox when you
I
leave and
know.
give them to her at closing." So it's
Uh,
like they're not even there to see that happen, but
yeah,
um, my client and I had a conversation, and she was like, it doesn't even feel real yet. And I was like, well, I was like, you have to think up until this point, every time you've walked into this house, it's been with me. I've had to let you into this house. I was like, it's almost for every first time home buyer, the moment is always the same.
yeah,
The moment it feels real, the moment where the tears come and like you're like, this is my house, is that first time you get the keys and the garage door opener and you go to that house and you walk in the house alone for the first time and
yeah,
you don't need anybody to let you in because it's your house.
yeah,
That moment, my clients, it never fails. I say, call me when it hits you. And
yeah.
it every single time it's like, I just walked into the house for the first time. I'm sobbing. Thank you so much. I love it. And that moment for them is always a big one when they first get to go in the house without the agent.
Yeah, and I know like we just tend to like kind of not hide, but kind of provide a layer of comfort to the buyers, right? Like there's just so much that happens through the whole transaction.
Yes.
Uh, but like even if I think about all the theory that we learned during our licensing exam, and there's
Hmm.
no concept of giving keys to the buyer in our there is no
No.
like once it's recorded, it's their house, right? But
Yep.
they but there's just so much human aspect to a transaction in real estate that's
Absolutely.
that's just it's just really amazing, and I think that's what I love about it.
Yes, yeah, that's one of my favorite parts, and the reason I got into sales in the first place. So, since I was a kid, I've been a singer since 8 years old. My dad is a classically trained opera singer, so I grew up with music and performing and doing musical theater, and I still do gigs and music and all that stuff now, and I love being on stage. I love being in front of people. I love talking to people and communicating with people, whether that be from me on stage to them or just face to face or via Zoom on a podcast, whatever the case might be. Communication is kind of my passion. Uh, so finding myself in a career where I get to assist people with such a personal thing for themselves, right? You have to think people are spending three, four, $500,000 on their houses, and that's for most people the biggest purchase they'll ever make. And I get to be the guy that gets to hand them the keys and say,
Yeah,
congratulations on the biggest purchase you'll ever make in your life. And that
yeah,
that is such a blessing to me.
and it's amazing how much they rely on us, right? Like deciding, say, hey, which house is a little bit better, which is what is the right neighborhood, what's going to happen to me when I live there. Like it's just
Yeah.
yeah, like a lot of people sometimes they realize it, sometimes they don't, but it just the amount of transformation that a person goes through because of the home that they live in is just incredible. You did
Absolutely.
that you love to sing. Like, tell us a little
Yeah.
more about that. Like, do you actually perform weekly or?
So yeah, I have a place here in St. Louis that I do gigs every other Friday or so. It's pretty spotty through the slow season, but pretty much every other Friday. And I'm actually going to Las Vegas on Saturday. I just made it to the
Nice.
national finals for a karaoke competition. It's
Wow.
a big singing competition in Vegas. I get to perform at the Luxor Hotel and the HyperX Arena there. So I'm going there to do a national competition this Saturday.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so yeah, I love to perform still. I still get out and sing when I can, and whenever I can find a place that'll open their doors and let me go
Yeah,
jam with them, I love to.
that's amazing. So yeah, I would
Thank you.
love to hear more about more. Do you also like do any live session, like live broadcast or something?
I actually, so sometimes on TikTok I'll go live and I'll just
Yeah.
sit and sing and play piano or play my ukulele or whatever the moment hits. And I don't have a ton of people join those, but there's a few people that stop and hang out for a bit and listen to me sing and make requests and stuff like that. So I do like to do that on TikTok for sure.
Cool, awesome. So I always like to kind of transition into a next topic, which is like what's happening in the market right now. Like what are you observing? Like how is the St. Louis market? Tell us more about the real estate, the core of the
Sure.
market. What's going on?
Absolutely. So for St. Louis, one of the craziest things about this city is that, no matter what's happening in the country, the home values here are always much lower than most other metro cities in the country. It's just, uh, it's the blessing and curse of St. Louis is that you're going to have a ton of investors looking here because they're going to pay way less for a house they'd be paying $2 million for in California. They're going to pay 250, 300,000 here for it. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where your average home value is going to be less, but the affordability is higher. So you have a lot more people able to buy homes here rather than renting. So inventory at the moment is a little bit down, and uh, because of that, obviously the buyers are down a little bit. But we do have a shift in interest rates and stuff, as you know,
Yeah.
where they're starting to level out a little bit. So buyers are starting to pick up, inventory is starting to pick up, sellers are seeing interest rates go down, and they're wanting to sell their houses. So it's a good time for everybody. So things are starting to pick back up, and they typically do right before Thanksgiving and the holidays. People want to, shift from their house into a bigger one and set
Mhm.
their new house up for the holidays. And right now is kind of a big boom in the market.
Nice. Yeah, that is amazing. So I think this year was a little bit off. Like when I'm observing, like first quarter and the fourth quarter are going to be really busy.
Yes.
And because you did really well, I think second and third quarter was probably busy for you as well. But I think fourth quarter, I think I'm going to see a lot more transactions coming up.
Yeah. It's actually kind of funny because most of the other agents I talked to are like, yeah, my second and third quarter, the end of spring to the end of summer, were really slow. We didn't really have much going on. And there was a point for me in August towards the end of summer when I had seven under contract at one time.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know how that happened for me, but it just did. I got lucky. And I just had a bunch of buyers, stamp the approval at the same time. And it was a pretty cool month for me. But yeah, sometimes you'll get months with zero, sometimes you'll get months with seven, and it's different for every agent, everybody you ask.
Yeah, yeah. So, and tell us more about like, are you seeing the price dropping? Are you seeing anything else in terms of the valuation, like of the market? Like, is it lower? Is it still continuing to grow?
Yeah, so the market here, there's a bunch of neighborhoods in St. Louis that are starting to boom. A couple really cool ones down in Tower Grove South. And I don't know if you know where these places are, but for anybody that's familiar with St. Louis, Tower Grove South, Webster Groves, you have Crestwood, all these places that had lower home values before, starting to see almost double home values now than they were 2 years ago. And that's just kind of the beauty of a city with a lot of investments is you have folks, buying these houses and fixing them up and then relisting them and people being able to purchase, move-in ready houses and not have to sink a ton of money into them.
Yeah.
And you have a bunch of people being able to afford really, really nice houses that have been fixed up for them.
Yeah, yeah. That is amazing. And so I think because of that, you will see a lot more transactions happening. Generally, whenever if there's an investor centric market along with home buyers, there will be a lot more transactions that will come up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, St. Louis is one of those markets where there's always something under contract everywhere you look, and it's just it's one of those things about St. Louis that's such a beauty is you have, whether it's a first time home buyer or last time home buyer, it's somebody's looking at a house. What it could be an investor, it could be you, it could be me, it could be anybody just looking at a house to purchase because they're so affordable here, that people just flock here, and it's a really beautiful thing to have such um, a diverse city with so much to offer.
Yeah, yeah. So as I always like to ask, like, what are some of your hobbies and passions? I know singing is definitely on
Yeah.
the top ones, but any others that you would like to share with the
Sure, sure. So, like I said, I am married. My wife and I have two dogs. We don't have any children yet. But we love to take our dogs out. We love to take them for walks. We love to binge watch Netflix shows and reality shows, stuff like that. So, when we're not both grinding, we're at home hanging out and spending quality time together. I do also enjoy wood burning a lot, if you're familiar with that. Um, just really anything creative. I'm in a very business centric career, so in my personal time, I really like to use my time for creative outlets like hosting the podcast we talked about earlier, or singing or wood burning or creating bath bombs with my wife, whatever the case might be. We're really creative people.
nice. Yeah, that's amazing. Like being able to like enjoy a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And it's a variety of things, right? So that's amazing.
Yeah. And pretty much anything that we can do, we try to.
Yeah, I know with the life with till the time there are dogs, I think there is things that you have a little more flexibility. Like with kids, I always thought like it's a lot more easier to have a dog. I had a dog and I had kids together at one time, and I could leave my dog alone at home. I could leave my dog alone in the car. Obviously,
Yep.
it was open and like with some reasonable
Sure.
ventilation in there. But yeah, I can't do that any of that with the kids.
Nope.
They tag along with me everywhere, which is a good and a bad thing. I can take my kids everywhere. I couldn't always take the dogs every single place.
Sure.
Like if I was traveling internationally or some places, if
Yeah.
they won't allow pets in the cabin.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that's we love our dogs to death, man. So when we met about 5 years ago, she had her dog, who's a 4 pound teacup schnauzer. She's 12 years old. She's a little tiny little schnauzer, and she had her for about 10 years. And I
Mhm.
had my dog, who's a Dachshund Jack Russell mix, and I've had him for about 10 years. So it's a blended dog family, we call it.
Perfect. Yeah, nice. So yeah, and as we come close to the end of this episode, are there any other pieces of advice you would like to give to your clients or other new agents?
Sure, sure. Yeah, I think the piece of advice that I would love to leave people with is don't be afraid to make the jump, man.
Hmm.
If you're looking for a career where you can have a lot of freedom and like a lot of decision making for your own business, being a loan officer is one of those, being a realtor is especially one of those, and
Yeah.
it's I recommend just believing in yourself and doing it. It's not as hard as it sounds. It does take some work, but anything worth doing is going to be a lot of work. So I just say, if it's something you're interested in, do a little more research and just take the leap. The worst that can happen is it doesn't work out, and you have your real estate license anyway. So
And it's amazing. Like even if you just sell your own house, it probably pays for the whole 10 years of all the costs involved. Uh,
yeah,
Yeah, but obviously don't get a license to sell your own house. Like get a license for the right reasons.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
a lot more to getting licensed than just making money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
You have to, one of the things as well, is you have to realize that getting your real estate license is making a commitment to keep your client's best interest in mind.
yeah,
A lot of people think about, oh, realtors make so much money. And while that's the case in some regard, you're also handling people's lives in sometimes very fragile situations. So it's important to,
yeah.
do what you do so you can have a like earn your keep and make a living, but also keep in mind that you're doing this with the betterment of other people in mind. It's very important to handle people's lives with care and to be honest and open with people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's a very, very good piece of advice, and I would like to end the episode with that, saying, hey, do the right thing, do it because you like to do it,
Yeah.
and that's what will lead to success. So thanks, Cameron, for joining today, sharing very valuable insights, and I would love
Absolutely.
to hear. I will be subscribing to your TikTok and Instagram. Looking forward to your next live session and going over the recordings and. Best of luck with the trip to Vegas.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure sitting with you. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Main Street Minds. Want to share your journey with our audience? Head over to mainstreetmindspodcast.com/guest to apply.